Okay, Victor Sane back again with another how-to video. This is a 2004 Volkswagen Beetle. It's lower control arms. It's actually the lower control arm bushings that are bad, but the lower control arms don't cost much more than the bushings themselves, and so it's really not worth it to try to change the bushings and put the lower control arms back in there, especially if the vehicle's ever been wrecked or it's gone into a ditch or it's had a rough life and there's any chance at all of the lower control arm being damaged. So what we're looking at here is the old lower control arm. The bushings are in here and here that we're concerned with. And it allows this wheel to move forward and back ever so slightly whenever you hit the brakes, whenever the transmission shifts, whenever you put it in drive or reverse. There's clunking noises, you can feel it moving, feel jerks, those sort of symptoms. First you take this bolt off, goes to your anti-sway bar link. Then you're going to want to take these 3 bolts loose for your ball joint. Then you want to take this bolt out. And this bolt out, which has a nut that you can't see. I'll show you. Right down there where you can't see it. I'm going to take you over here to the other side. Now here on the other side you can see one of the old control arms. The new one we're going to replace it with. You can see one of the bushings. Here, oh, see? That should not come out of there like that. That is broken. See how bad that is? And that's making a lot of clunking noises and allowing the wheel to move back and forth. It also messes up the alignment. Driver's alignment guy's crazy. So every time they think they've got the alignment right, it moves. So that's another issue. If you've had an alignment and you keep going back, or you've gone to a different place, and the new alignment guy starts bad-mouthing the other alignment guy's work, he might not have actually done anything wrong. You might have some bushings wore out. But back to the subject at hand. You can see here the first bolt I was telling you about, which is 18mm head, so you'll need an 18mm socket or wrench to take this loose. Goes right here. I'm sorry, we shouldn't have started with that. We should start with this bolt that goes right here for the link for the anti-sway bar. Take that loose. Then you take these loose, which are 13mm heads. There's 3 of them for the ball joint. In step number 3, you'll take this bolt loose for the lower control arm. Step number 4, you'll take this bolt loose, which is also an 18mm head, and it stabs straight up into here and goes into that nut, which there is nothing holding that nut in place. See the nut? I mean, you could easily lose that, so you'll have to be careful with that. I like to leave it right there. And then you'll have to hold it when you put the bolt up in there. That's really the biggest thing you have to remember about that. Now, when pulling this ball joint loose, you'll want to grab, turn you upside down for a second. Did you feel vertigo? Grab the caliper right here and pull straight out. That will pull your ball joint out of the tip of the lower control arm. Make sure you compare your new part to your old part. To ensure that everything is the same. Always start these by hand. Do not start them with an air gun. The last thing you want is a stripped threads down inside there. Same thing with this bolt here. Start it by hand. And don't forget you're going to need to reach up there with the 18mm wrench and hold that nut while tightening this down here. And I like to finish tightening these with a hand ratchet and a cheater bar so I can feel the threads all the way down and stop if there's any kind of problem and feel just how tight I'm getting them rather than using an air gun. Okay, when the car is sitting on the ground, this lower control arm is not down like it was while we're working on it. It's sitting pretty level like this because the wheel is pushed up into the wheel well where it belongs. And that makes the lower control arm sit pretty level like that. So that's why instead of putting it on one of the 7 lifts I have, we do these on the ground so you can take and put something here to push up on the lower control arm and hold it nice and level while we put the final torque on. That bolt and this bolt. See how the bushing is no longer straining because the lower control arm is sitting nice and level? We'll tighten these bolts while it's in this position and then put all the other bolts together. That way, when the car is sitting level, there'll be no strain on these bushings. And when the alignment guy does the alignment, everything will sit just perfectly right. It'll be easy to align. 18mm, 16mm, 13mm, and 18mm, and also the nut 18mm. Now we just put the wheel back on. Okay, people, please like, comment, and share. Don't forget Friday afternoons, Transmission Parts ID, and Tuesday is Tech Tips Tuesdays. Every Friday, Transmission Parts ID. We've got quite a few parts to cover. You might want to join us. Now, bonus, if you've stayed to the end of this video, the driver's side does not have enough room for this bolt to come out. The only reason I got it out here without taking the transmission pan off, like the manual tells you. The manual will tell you have to take the transmission pan off, or it'll tell you taking that big mount up top and raise the engine, all those kind of things. The secret cheat is blam. You take those 2 bolts off the bottom rear mount, take a pry bar, pry the whole thing forward, and that gives you just enough room to get this bolt the rest of the way out. Now, get off the couch and get dirty.
Don't forget to share our videos. Sharing is caring.